Hello. Don't forget to like and subscribe before starting the video. Who is James K. Polk? James K. Polk was the 11th President of the United States, serving from 1845 to 1849. He was a member of the Democratic Party and is considered one of the most consequential presidents in American history, despite his relatively short time in office. Polk's presidency was marked by a period of intense territorial expansion, as he sought to fulfill the United States' manifest destiny to expand westward. He is perhaps best known for leading the country through the Mexican-American War, which resulted in the United States acquiring a significant amount of territory from Mexico, including California and parts of modern-day Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming. In addition to his territorial expansion policies, Polk also established an independent treasury system and reduced tariffs during his presidency. He also oversaw the founding of the Department of the Interior, the construction of the Smithsonian Institution, and the establishment of the Naval Academy. However, Polk also faced significant challenges during his presidency, including ongoing tensions over the issue of slavery and the Compromise of 1850, as well as disputes with Britain over the Oregon Territory. His aggressive territorial expansion policies also drew criticism from some, including members of his own party, and contributed to his declining health and early death. Overall, James K. Polk's presidency was a pivotal moment in American history, shaping the country's territorial boundaries and influencing its economic and political development for decades to come. James K. Polk was born on November 2, 1795, in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. His family moved to Tennessee when he was a child, and he spent most of his early years there. Polk attended the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he graduated with honors in 1818. He then returned to Tennessee and studied law at the University of Tennessee, where he earned his degree in 1820. After completing his education, Polk entered politics, serving in the Tennessee legislature from 1823 to 1825. He then went on to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1825 to 1839, where he quickly established himself as a skilled and effective legislator. During his time in the House of Representatives, Polk was a strong supporter of Andrew Jackson and his policies, particularly with regard to Indian removal and the expansion of American territory. He also served as Speaker of the House from 1835 to 1839, where he was known for his ability to manage the affairs of the House and navigate complex political situations. Polk's time in the House of Representatives was not without controversy, however. He was a strong advocate for states' rights and opposed many of the policies of President John Quincy Adams and his successor, President Martin Van Buren. He also faced criticism from some quarters for his support of Jackson's policies, particularly with regard to Indian removal. Despite these challenges, Polk's early career in politics laid the groundwork for his later success as president. He demonstrated his ability to navigate complex political situations and to build alliances across party lines, skills that would serve him well as he sought to expand American territory and shape the country's future direction. In 1844, James K. Polk emerged as a surprise candidate for the Democratic nomination for president. Although he had been out of national politics for several years, Polk was a skilled politician with a reputation for strong leadership and a commitment to expanding American territory. At the Democratic National Convention, Polk emerged as a dark horse candidate, winning the nomination on the 9th ballot after several better-known candidates failed to secure enough votes. Polk's nomination was seen as a compromise between the various factions within the Democratic Party, and he was chosen in part because of his strong support for territorial expansion. Polk's campaign platform was focused primarily on the issue of territorial expansion, which he saw as essential to the future prosperity and security of the United States. He advocated for the annexation of Texas, which had been an independent republic since 1836, and for the acquisition of other Western territories, including California and Oregon. Polk argued that these territories would provide new opportunities for American settlement and commerce and would help to secure American interests in the Pacific. The key issues of the 1844 campaign were thus focused on territorial expansion and the annexation of Texas in particular. Polk faced opposition from some quarters, particularly from members of the Whig Party who were skeptical of his aggressive expansionist policies. Whig candidate Henry Clay argued that Polk's policies would lead to war with Mexico and upset the delicate balance of power between the North and South in the United States. Despite these criticisms, Polk's campaign was ultimately successful. He won a narrow victory in the popular vote and secured a clear majority in the Electoral College, with strong support from southern and western states. His victory was seen as a mandate for territorial expansion and a signal of the growing power of the Democratic Party in American politics. James K. Polk's presidency was marked by a number of significant achievements, many of which had lasting impacts on American politics and society. Perhaps the most notable of Polk's achievements was the acquisition of vast territories in the American West through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War. Under Polk's leadership, the United States secured California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Oklahoma, effectively doubling the size of the country. This acquisition was a significant victory for Polk's expansionist policies and helped to shape the future course of American history. In addition to his territorial acquisitions, Polk also made significant strides in economic policy during his presidency. He reduced tariffs on imported goods, which helped to stimulate international trade and benefit American consumers. He also established an independent treasury system, which helped to stabilize the economy and protect the government's finances from the whims of private banks. Polk's presidency was also marked by significant investments in education and science. He oversaw the construction of the Smithsonian Institution, which would become a leading center of research and learning in the United States. He also established the Naval Academy, which helped to train a new generation of officers for the growing American Navy. Finally, Polk founded the Department of the Interior, which was responsible for managing public lands and natural resources and which remains a critical component of the federal government to this day. Overall, James K. Polk's presidency was characterized by a bold vision for the future of the United States, marked by territorial expansion, economic reform, and investment in education and science. His achievements had lasting impacts on American society and helped to shape the country's future trajectory for decades to come. Although James K. Polk's presidency was marked by many achievements, it was not without its challenges and controversies. One of the most pressing issues of the time was the ongoing question of slavery, which had been a source of tension in American politics for decades. Polk was a strong supporter of Southern interests and was committed to expanding slavery into new territories, but he also recognized the need for compromise in order to maintain national unity. The Compromise of 1850, which sought to balance the interests of North and South, was one of the key outcomes of this ongoing debate. Another major challenge facing Polk was the question of American expansion into the Pacific Northwest. Tensions with Britain over the Oregon Territory, which both countries claimed as their own, threatened to escalate into war, and Polk was under pressure to take a strong stance in defense of American interests. Ultimately, a compromise was reached that gave the United States control over much of the territory, but the issue remained a contentious one for years to come. Perhaps the biggest challenge facing Polk, however, was the toll that his aggressive expansionist policies took on his health. He had pushed himself hard throughout his presidency, working long hours and neglecting his personal well-being in pursuit of his goals. In addition, he faced criticism from members of his own party, who felt that he had overstepped his bounds in his efforts to expand American territory. By the time he left office in 1849, he was exhausted and in poor health, and he died just a few months later, at the age of 53. Despite these challenges and controversies, James K. Polk remains an important figure in American history, remembered for his bold vision for the future of the country and his unwavering commitment to its expansion and prosperity. James K. Polk's presidency had a significant impact on the United States, both in terms of its territorial expansion and its economic policies. He oversaw the acquisition of vast new territories, including California and much of the Southwest, and he worked to reduce tariffs and establish a stable financial system for the country. His legacy as a president is one of decisive action and strong leadership, with a clear vision for the future of the nation. However, Polk's presidency was not without its controversies and challenges. His aggressive expansionist policies were criticized by many, and his neglect of his own health serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overworking oneself in pursuit of ambitious goals. In conclusion, James K. Polk was a president who left a lasting impact on the United States, with a legacy that continues to be felt today. His leadership style and accomplishments offer valuable lessons for leaders and citizens alike, reminding us of the importance of vision, determination, and compromise in pursuit of a better future. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.